What's up, y'all? It's Gino. And today I'm gonna start a new series for you guys. It's gonna be called like how I got into or how I started listening to certain artists. The first artist that I'm gonna talk about is gonna be Logic. I mean, most of my friends, close associates, they all know that I've loved Logic forever, and I don't think um, anybody really knows like the real story of how I really got into him or how I really started like listening to him. So without further ado, I'm gonna get into it right now. All right, so freshman year was 2014 for me, and I that's when I was probably most into YouTube, and for the most part, I was watching FaZe, watching like Optic. I was really into competitive Call of Duty. I was really into just like not even like just anything to do with Call of Duty for the most part. That was were like the main videos I would watch on YouTube. So that included like FaZe Adapt, FaZe Rain, FaZe Jev was one of my favorites. Like they all like used to. That was like when cut commentary was like at the highest, and like everybody's playing Black Ops 2 still. So yeah, like I remember all of them used to always use like well at the time I didn't know it was Logic, like samples in the background, but the background music was always like pretty similar. And then um I had finally like clicked on one of the descriptions for it was FaZe Dance video, I remember, and the background was what's it called? It was either Nasty or it was something on um, Welcome to Forever. But that was the first time, that's besides the point. That was the first time I ever had saw Logic's name. And I wanted to, get to know, maybe like, come across like some songs I liked, because I had liked all of the background music that I had heard. And I just thought that maybe it'd be good if I started listening to him. So I just simply typed in Logic rapper to YouTube, and the first video that ever popped up was All I Do. So I listened to All I Do. I started listening to it was a bunch of just like it wasn't even singles because it was from like the Young Sinatra days, I guess you could say. So it was just more. It was like basically all of the music videos that he made for all of the songs that were on those mixtapes. I had those like on repeat when I just remember in history class, like I didn't have Spotify, I didn't have any of that yet. So I would literally like have my phone on and just have it in my pocket, and it would just be shuffling through the playlist I had made on YouTube. But at the same time, it was playing like all of the music videos at the same time, so it would like kill my battery. But so that was like the first part of freshman year. I could truly say like um probably a week before it's like freshman year had started, that's when like I had finally like listened to him. So from like August to like October, that was like all I was listening to. I probably listened to like probably a total of 8 to 10 songs, and I had them on repeat for a good 2 months. It was perfect timing because that's when he dropped the Under Pressure music video, and that had Nate Shot, which is still one of my favorite YouTubers, and Temper. I don't watch Temper as much, but I knew that they were both in that video. That's when I realized he was dropping his debut album, which was Under Pressure. It was October. It was in like October 14th, I believe. And I remember the first listen. It was it was at 9 o'clock. I remember the first listen. I was just like I can't even describe. I had goosebumps. It was just like one of the best albums I'd ever listened to. I had to tell other people about this artist, and for the most part, like I didn't really know who to tell. I've had a close group of friends for forever that I've played with. I had told them all about Logic. I think my friend Kate had already heard about him, and we all listened to Under Pressure basically, and we all loved it. I had saw that he was gonna go on tour for it, and he was gonna come to San Diego on Valentine's Day of 2015. Then we all got tickets. My dad drove us up, and we got VIP yeah, we got VIP, so we got to meet him. Just it happened all so fast. Like I was simply just listening to like just these random songs from like all three of his like Young Sinatra mixtapes, and then all of a sudden like I'm just in love with him and everything he stands for, like the peace, love, and positivity, just how he like inspires people and his story. I think that's what really like made me gravitate toward him more. That's when I really started like watching more interviews and just seeing what, who he was and learning more about him. And I think that's what really like led me to gravitate towards him. So when I did meet him, it was so like, it was just so surreal. He was so nice, made me laugh. Just, he made you feel comfortable. I was listening, after that first concert, that's when I started really listening to the mixtape. Welcome to Forever is by far my favorite projects. Undeniable was great. Young Broken, Infamous, very slept on. Young Sinatra. That's all of those are just great, and I really started listening to all of those too because I had played Under Pressure so many times at that point that I wanted to listen to like his earlier stuff. Cause before Logic, I feel like I knew there was albums and I knew there was mixtapes, but I never really like appreciated them and really took the time to like listen from like this to this, like, you know what I mean, all the way through, no skipping, because I feel like that's the only way you can really listen to an album. I started doing that and I really just loved it. So for the most part, that was just through all of freshman year. I downloaded DatPiff and I was listening to all those mixtapes, and that's when like he dropped the trailer for The Incredible True Story. Honestly, when I first saw the YouTube notification pop up, I had no idea what it was. And I watched it and I realized it was for this album, so I got really excited. I loved the beat in the back, which was I Am the Greatest. When The Incredible True Story dropped, I remember like I can say with every project he's released, like more and more people that like went to my school or like that I knew, they all knew for the most part I liked Logic. So it was interesting how like when it started with Under Pressure, like not a lot of people knew about him, and then Incredible True Story, maybe a little bit more people were talking about him, like, telling me like, dang, like, Logic is actually pretty good. The Incredible True Story dropped, loved it again. Went to his concert exactly a year after the Under Pressure. It was weird, like I saw him both Valentine's Day 2015 and 2016, so that was cool. Just, obviously I didn't listen to just Logic, just how I progressively, just loved him as an artist and more as even a person, just somebody to look up to. Saw him for The Incredible True Story. I got VIP again. I met him again. I went with my boy Don. He was on my basketball team. Known him even before high school too, so that was really fun. In the summer of 2016, he dropped Bobby Tarantino, and I still remember that day. And I was on Skype or Discord. It was either one of those with my friends, and I got a notification that he had posted something, and then it said like, Bobby Tarantino everywhere. I had looked on Spotify and I realized that he had dropped something. I was like, whoa, like this is like actually a mixtape. And I remember just like freaking out. I was telling my friends like, all right, I got hanged up. I had to actually like, listen to this. Heard about the Endless Summer Tour with G-Eazy. So I was already thinking about going to that too. And then he had dropped that. So that kind of just like sold me. So I went and saw him on the Endless Summer Tour. It was fun because I went with Cade the first time. I went with Adon the second time. And then the third time on the Endless Summer Tour, we all three went. So it was like, like a full circle. So that was pretty cool. I ended up going on a business trip with my dad. We went to like the East Coast, and my dad had asked me like, what do you want to do on the East Coast? Like, is there anything that like interests you? And I was just like, no, not really. I mostly just went because I had never really been on a business trip with my dad. I wasn't really, gonna say like, let's do this, let's do that. I knew he was there for business. All of a sudden I thought like, well, Logic is still on tour. And I mean, he started on the West Coast, he'll probably end on the East Coast. And I looked it up, and just so happens that the concert that he was going to perform, because we started in Boston, and I think it was probably the second or third night that we were in Boston, he was performing at a like an amphitheater that was literally 20 minutes from my hotel. So I had told my dad, and he said maybe. He ended up getting back to the hotel probably around 5-ish that night that the concert was supposed to happen. He comes to the hotel and he's just like, are you ready for the concert? And I said, what concert? And he said, well, I'm about to get you tickets. So he literally went to the computer at the hotel and got the ticket, like got one ticket for me right there. And like, that's why I was just, oh man, I love my dad so much. But yeah, it was really cool. It was different because I had never been to a concert by myself before. I got this shirt at that concert. And I just remember the guy that sold it to me being like so just like out of it. So I was like, oh my God, like I didn't know what to expect. But once the concert started, it was just like old time. I think concerts are more enjoyable when you're with friends and you're with like people that actually enjoy the music as well, and you guys just vibe the whole time. I think that concert will always stick with me just because he surprised me like that. So yeah, it was the summer of 2016. He took a break for a while. Obviously I listened to him here and there, so and like I am making this video and it's like it's sounding like I only listen to Logic, but I just wanted to tell the story of him. I think I said that already, but yeah, I think that when the album trailer for Everybody dropped, that was when I really started to like, all right, it's all Logic again. I was really excited. I didn't know what to really expect going into it, and Everybody dropped. It was much different than any of the other albums he had dropped. I think it was more focused on just other people besides himself. That's what he's always talked about, and I thought it was an interesting just concept. My first couple of listens, I don't think I liked it as much because it wasn't, I don't know, I think it wasn't really what I was expecting going into it. So just actually listening to the lyrics, I could understand what he was doing with the projects. So that made it more enjoyable. And then I went and saw him with Talia, and I think at the concert, that's when like I fully appreciated the album. Just like hearing it live, there's just something else about it. I'm sure a lot of people that have been to the concerts can relate to that. The whole, like, you realize how much effort and how much time that artist had put into that body of work, and when you see it just performed live, I have no words to describe it. It's the best. I think going to see him, it made me appreciate that album more. It made me listen to that album a little bit more. I was still listening to him, but not as much as like right after the concert. Oh my god, like I was only listening to Everybody. I loved the concert. I loved everything about it. It was probably one of my probably my favorite, to be honest. And that was when he really started blowing up for 1-800. That was really the time when like all of like my like friends and stuff like that, they all of a sudden, interesting, they all started saying, like that they liked him. They liked his music. It was interesting going from Under Pressure, where like none of my friends knew who he was, and like trying to give me this like shit for like listening to him basically when he was just blowing up, to like finally like just listening to him and just giving him a chance. Obviously I'm gonna be very biased, and I love his message. I love like all of that stuff. Even his music alone I feel is good. Like, you don't have to know his whole story to love his music. I feel like his music is just that good alone, and it was nice having like everybody finally listening to him after he had done all those performances. He like took a little break, doing that too much after the Grammys. That's when he split with his wife too. So I mean, that was like a whole like that was just a different thing. Then he released Bobby Tarantino 2. That was like everything that I expected. And I'm pretty sure once everybody saw it would be a Bobby Tarantino project, everybody knew, or everybody was hoping at least he'd go back to some Young Sinatra vibe. He went above a lot of people's expectations with Bobby Tarantino 2. I enjoyed the heck out of that project. Still bump it every day. Saw him also about a week ago, and July 23rd, and Chula Vista, saw him there. I went with Talia as well to that one, and yeah, it was a lot of fun. But yeah, I think that's for the most part just the whole story of how I started listening to him, and just how it's developed over the years. Yeah, and I feel like Logic has really taught me that for the most part, just knowing that it's okay to be sad, and it's okay to feel angry. It's okay to feel emotion. So yeah, that's the story of how I really got into Logic's music and why I became a member of the Rat Pack, why he's like really influenced my life so much, and yeah, just everything with it. So I hope you guys enjoyed, and I hope to see you guys in the next video. Bye.